360-degree approach in reaching our audience over 5 platforms: television, radio, newspaper, online news portal, and mobile app.
Y Media has newspaper, midweek, radio, South Asian Pulse.
Hi, I'm Amitabh Bachchan and you're listening to South Asian Pulse.
Hi, this is Amir Khan and you're listening to South Asian Pulse.
अब हर दिन सुने GTA का number 1 radio station FM 91.9.
All English 24/7 television network and Y Media Plus.
You are watching Channel Y. Channel Y.
Prime Minister, welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be back.
Online, SouthAsianDaily.com, the biggest South Asian media group. Y Media.
Hello everyone, my name is Jadoo. I'm the group editor at Y Media, and we all know there are going to be elections on October the 24th right across Ontario. And as usual, we are going to conduct the debates today. And before I start discussing the format for our viewers' benefit, I'd like to welcome all the guests today. Good Pratap Tour, a very warm welcome on Y Media. How are you?
Thank you, Yadoo. I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. Mr. Azad Goyat, warm welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you, Yadoo.
Welcome. Gagan, a very warm welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Neeb Dord, a very warm welcome. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. It's an honor to be here.
You are very welcome. And we also have Susan Joseph. Susan, a very warm welcome. How are you?
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for having me.
You are very welcome. The format is pretty simple. I'll give you 2 minutes for your opening remarks, and then we'll enter the Q&A section, which is an open discussion. In this open discussion, I'll be bringing up a topic, so feel free to jump in during those 4 minutes. And after that, there'll be closing remarks of 1 minute each. Any questions?
Good. No questions.
So we can
yeah,
speak,
go ahead. Sorry.
We can speak the different language too?
No.
Only English?
Yeah, my request would be if you could speak only
right.
English. Yeah, because maybe any of our other candidates, they may not understand the language. So just to be fair for everyone.
Thank you.
So we'll request everyone. Yeah, the language is English. Yeah. Thank you so much for the question. Yeah. So at this point, I'd like to inform our viewers this debate is being broadcast on Rogers 857, Bell 828, Telus 2418, Ignite 707, and you can also download the app Y Media TV and watch it anywhere on the go on your mobile phone. And at this point, I'll start with Pratap Singh Tour. 2 minutes for you.
Sure. Thank you, Yadoo, and to Y Media for doing this political Sensex and this debate. My name is Pratap Singh Toor, and I'm your candidate for Regional Councillor of Wards 9 and 10. I'm no stranger to City Hall. I've worked there for 4 years, from 2014 to 2018 in the Mayor's office. I have first-hand experience watching how City Hall functions, the services that we can provide, and the possibilities that we have. Unfortunately, we haven't seen the same over the last 4 years. And the lack of leadership that we see in Wards 9 and 10, we hear that at every single door that we've canvassed over the last few months. And it's about time that we bring about change in our ward and elect somebody that will be your voice, that can represent you well at City Hall.
Thank you. Mr. Azad?
Yeah, hello Bramptonian. My name is Azad Goyat, and I am the Regional Councillor candidate for Ward 9 and 10. Let me tell you, I have a huge experience on the community issues. Back from 2019, I had a hunger strike for 48 hours at Queen Park for Second Hospital in Brampton. After that, I organized many town hall on safety and security issues with the Peel Police Chief and Mayor of Brampton. Apart from that, I organized a big town hall with the federal, provincial and municipal levels on Brampton Need University and Brampton Need Hospital. Apart from that, I have reported more than 600 dead trees to the city. I just went on the McQueen Street today, and the trees are being planted. Apart from that, I have time to time complained and get fixed the park not maintained. So basically, I'm not new to the community, and my heart beats for Brampton, and I'm a survivor of heart attack. And after the heart attack, I decided my services are for the community, and my heart beat for Brampton, and I will work only and only for the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gagan.
Yeah, thank you for Y Media for organizing this forum. My name is Professor Gagan Lal. I'm not a politician. I am a teacher. Before my academic career, I worked in the most fastest and innovative companies in the world where I managed multi-billion-dollar projects. It was during my corporate career that I realized that while the world has so much opportunity, my city does not. So I decided to walk away from the corporate world and do something about this. I started to teach and mentor our students. It was from teaching and mentoring I realized that our youth have a limited worldview of their future and what they can achieve. And this broke my heart. I'm a product of Brampton. I was born here. I was raised here. This is my city. Again, I'm not a politician. I'm someone who went to the best university in Canada, the Shrew School of Business. I'm someone who worked in the best companies in the world, someone who worked in the best cities in the world, someone who used the best systems in the world. The skills that I've developed allow me to critically assess complex systems and how to best utilize them to deliver long-term results and tangible value. And that is what I intend to do as your regional councillor for wards 9 and 10. Deliver. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Aneeb.
Hi there, thanks again for having me today. It's an honor to be here, and I just wanted to say hello to everyone who is watching and all of our residents and possible voters in the community. I'm very proud to be from Brampton. It is my hometown, and I've seen the GTA grow and the Brampton area grow over a span of 40 years, and it's exponential. And I think that all of us here today, and the people that I've been speaking to at doors we've been knocking on and talking to in the community, all agree that the city is not working. And in particular, wards 9 and 10 are facing very specific issues around environment, sustainability, congestion, and traffic, just to name a few. And it is going to get worse. So one of the things that I would like to do, if elected, I would very much like to start advocating right away for very strong change in areas that can positively affect these areas of life for people in the community. In terms of my experience, I do come from a public policy background. I worked for 15 years at Queen's Park as well as in other regional governments. I recently did also run in the provincial election, and I am someone who would very much like to see Brampton return to a place where there was opportunity, where people aren't stuck just sort of in the day-to-day in a city that isn't working for them. We need to have better services for our residents. We need to have people feel that they're respected and empowered in the community, and we need to start working together right now to make change so that all of our democratic institutions, the people that you're putting into office, actually reflect principles that are good for the community. So I would very much like to be that representative, and so I thank you again.
Thank you. Susan.
Thank you, sir, and thank you to all the viewers and Y Media for hosting us. I'm Susan Joseph. I was born in Mumbai, India, but I have called Canada home for the last 20 years. I am raising my kids with my husband, and we planted our roots in Brampton in 17 years ago, and I'm a proud mom of 2 teens. I am a registered occupational therapist, and I work in healthcare, and I've worked in healthcare for the last 20 years since coming to Canada. One of the reasons, and actually the main reason I'm standing for regional councillor in wards 9 and 10 is specifically that, healthcare. The fact that we obviously need huge changes in healthcare, and the fact that I would like to serve my community by improving safety, specifically women's safety, human trafficking, as well as youth and seniors and the most vulnerable, their quality of life, and above all, respect my colleagues on my team, and rebuild and re-establish the trust and integrity of our council, which has been lost in the last 8 years. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. A very nice introduction from all of you. And at this point, I'm going to throw in a topic and approximately 4 to 5 minutes for that. Feel free to jump in anytime. I want to listen, what is your vision for the city of Brampton? It could include whether you want to make the city more environment friendly, transit or anything. So what is your vision for the city of Brampton? That's the question. Go ahead.
Yeah, my vision for Brampton is Brampton first, resident first, because the elected representative, after getting elected, they are not working for us. They are working for their personal agenda. So I'll make sure that Brampton residents are being represented properly, because we are the taxpayer and we are paying their salary. We are electing them to work for us, but they are not working for us. Being an elected representative, my day will start working for the resident. My day will end for the working for the resident. And before sleeping, I will think what is to be done for the next day for the resident. My heartbeat for residents. I want to work only and only and only for the resident. We need property tax free.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'd like to say that my agenda is very simple. We're fighting for crime. We're fighting for better jobs. I am fighting for better quality of life for our residents, and most importantly, I'm fighting to give you a voice. It's time that Brampton gets its fair share. It's time that we get the services that we deserve, the services that we need, and there's a huge disconnect about what we are getting in our community because there's a failure in our leadership and our representation. And you see that through the rampant crime. You see that through the lack of investment in our community, the lack of trust from our provincial and federal government. So I'm here to fight for all that, to fight for our community, because it is representation for all of us. And that is what we need now more than ever. We need to restore our integrity in our community. We need to restore our integrity in our government, so that once again we can be trusted and once again we can be back on course.
And we're allowed to jump in. I think so.
Yeah.
I would just add that you know, we need a safer community. There's no doubt, but we need a community that's sustainable, and we need one that can be an example for other communities. There's opportunities in Brampton for green economy and innovation. I think that we should be pursuing more of that, and I think also that we should be empowering citizens more as well.
Yeah, Susan.
So I would agree with what everyone is saying, but my vision is definitely to better Brampton and bring Brampton up again and make it the flower city that it is. So the city that I've come to know, that I've planted my roots, is no longer in existence. So let's better our brand of Brampton and be proud to be called Bramptonians. And that's basically my vision, is so that we are not ashamed to be called Bramptonians.
So I'll come back to you. Let Mr. Gurupata and come back to you. Yeah, go ahead.
Brampton is the second fastest growing city in the country. We've heard that over and over again. Our median age is 34. The best asset that we have is the people in Brampton. But I don't think Brampton has grown at the same pace. We are not the second fastest growing city in terms of development, in terms of future opportunity, in terms of innovation. When we produce the best businesses, we produce the best athletes, the best artists, the best talent in the entire country, bar none. But we need to make a city that can compete with other cities. We need to make a city where the people of Brampton have an opportunity to grow, to put Brampton on the map. I would love to see Brampton be considered one of the top cities in Canada, and that would be our goal.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Brampton is the youngest city in Canada, and we are the 9th largest city in Canada. Our children are deprived of the education, post-secondary education, university education at our doorstep. And yet, last 2 weeks, there was an announcement for police station. There's no police station. I want to tell the resident. It's a I was for the resident. No police station is coming. I'll make sure to combat the crime. I will bring the full-fledged police station in our area so that we can feel safe, because safety and security is the first and foremost thing in Canada.
10 seconds. Thank you. 10 seconds.
Oh, we're okay.
Okay, 10
Yes, okay.
You're all okay? Okay, thank you so much. So we got to, that was quick. Thank you so much. We heard your vision. And we're going to move on to our next topic, which is crime. One of the major calls that we're getting on our radio talk shows, on our TV talk shows, is regarding crime. I don't want to listen, I'll come to you, but I want to listen to the obvious, yes, there are many carjackings happening, robberies, break-ins, we all know that, that's there. I want to listen solutions. What are you offering? Go ahead.
First of all, I want to mention that, respectfully to all my candidates, to all the opponents that I'm running against, I'm the only individual who has released a crime plan. You can find it on my website, guggenlaw.ca, and we talk about how, yes, there's a police satellite office that was announced at the Gore Medals. And yes, this is not a police station. My goal is to make this a fully manned staging point where we have immediate in-ward response. My goal is to make this eventually a police station and then build out to a police division. We had over $6.7 million to address service pressures. Why aren't we using the money? If crime is not a pressure, then I don't know what is in our community. We had over $242 million in identified provisions to bring in a police station. Why is it that we have no degree of certainty from our funding?
I'd like to jump in if I may as
go
well.
ahead.
I'd say that, protection of our citizenry is always important, but I think also what we need to consider is long-term solutions that aren't just only Band-Aid solutions as well. What is the reason that crime has grown this much in the community? Why is Brampton not like it was when I was a kid? We didn't even lock our doors, right? Like, what has happened? I think that working from the ground up, empowering our citizens to want to become involved in the community, empowering our youth to understand how they can help fight crime at the outset is something that we should be doing. I think that we need more grassroots, empowerment for our citizens and more women involved as well.
Well, I do agree with Aneep. It is a very bandit solution, and to say that you have a crime plan when we don't have an understanding on why is there a rising crime. Post-pandemic, Brampton is not the only city that has seen a rise in crime. Of course, we're one of the fastest growing cities, so we do see a high crime rate, but we're comparable to Mississauga, we're comparable to Vaughan. We're talking about resources that are not being used. Police is telling us that they're underfunded, under-resourced, and we keep talking about policing. That happens after the crime has occurred. Like Aneep said, we need to find out why is the crime occurring? Why is the crime rising? So we need to always make sure that if we can reduce the incidence of crime, we can tackle crime at that level. We need to have a community dialogue and discussion with different levels of government, with the police, to understand what is the root cause of this crime. Till we find out who the criminals are, whether they're in our city, whether they're coming from neighboring cities, whether it's international, we can't tackle this problem at all.
We'll come back to you, Susan.
Yes, so I agree with Aneep and with Mr. Toor. The fact is, we cannot have just a Band-Aid solution. The main reason why we have crime is because our youth and our youngest population has not been engaged. There's huge mental health concerns, not just COVID, it's been prior to COVID, the cost of living, the inflation. So that is where we have to tackle, and it's not just, definitely policing and all of that has to happen, but let's go to the grassroots, let's go to the main cause, which is mental health and just the mental well-being of all of our citizens.
Yeah, I'll come back to you again. He just wanted to add, then I'll come back to you. Go ahead. Of course.
Yeah. There are so many reasons for that one. Everyone knows what are the reasons. So basically, I will make sure, working with the provincial and
federal...
Why don't you
tell us what the reasons are for the rising crime?
I agree with there are so many, the mental health, inflation, everything. But I will make sure, working with the provincial and federal leaders, I'll make sure to study all those regions and put the resources for that one. From the last 4 years, I'm working on the crime issues. I organized many town hall meetings. I met so many residents. So I'll make sure that these issues, what are the regions that need to be addressed, and I'll put the speed bump on the road especially for the speeding on the road, because our community is not safe, our businesses are not safe. So I will bring.
If I may jump in and just say that we hear from our opponents right now, and I respectfully disagree, that this isn't a Band-Aid solution. What I'm hearing is you're going to fight for, you're going to advocate for. I have not yet heard a plan. My opponent Gurpatha respectfully said that we're underfunded. The Peel Police is not underfunded. If you look at the Peel budget for the police, in 2022, as I mentioned, $6.7 million in service pressures that we have allocated this year to address things such as crime. We have $242 million in identified provisions. Let me finish. We are not underfunded. We just had poor representation that did not do the work. We had a neighborhood watch program. Let me finish. Our elected officials.
No, but we need the time.
That
one cannot take that much time.
We had a neighborhood watch program.
Yeah, we got
0.02% that is allocated in the city budget.
To say if the police is not underfunded, why do we hear from our police board and the police chief that they don't have enough resources to hire more police officers to make sure that we have an efficient response time? Even when you call 911, you're put on hold for 3 to 5 minutes.
Yeah.
If I may
we have full resources,
I'll come back to you. Yeah, Susan.
So the fact is, the police are underfunded, and the fact is that they're not trained, and that's the reason why they've just launched the program where they're working with mental health staff, because some mental health is the reason why we have a lot of the crime that's happening. So the police force, unfortunately, is not equipped and they're underfunded. So they're teaming up with scam-age staff to go as crisis workers to deal with all of these concerns. So it's not that we are not dealing with the crime, but it's a matter of you have to think about it from a holistic point of view.
And I would just like to add to that, if I may, that the reason Brampton's in this situation in the first place is that the long-term policy decisions that were made back in the day were incorrect. And so while I agree that perhaps balance is needed, we also have to think about 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road. If we just keep on trying to compensate for errors that are made, we're going to run out of resources. And this is money that can be spent in other places as well, mental health, hospitals, community services. So, there's no perfect solution, but we need to have that overarching lens.
Yeah, so overall, we have to work together with all levels. What are the region and how we can find that? But let me tell you, there are so many robberies and theft, car theft. Police knows where the car is going, from where they are being shipped. So why they are not catching that one?
Because
so there is a lack of transparency. No, there is a lack of transparency. Police is not working in the way that they used to work for the resident. And there is an acute shortage of finances.
Just a final comment on this. I think it is disrespectful to say the police is not working. Our police officers are working day and night to keep our city safe. If they don't have enough resources to be on the ground, if they don't have enough police officers to be on the ground, that is very disrespectful to say that they're not doing the work.
I'm not disrespecting the police. Police is working, but it's not working the way it should work. If the car is theft and you are calling the police, say my car is there, they say no, don't worry, it's not your problem. We will find it out. So no, police should do the due diligence. They should hear the residents. Residents are suffering.
I think if I may say that yes, at that point they have their legal ways to do that, handle the problem. They have to look at many different situations.
No, you might. That's
from
true.
your perspective,
that's true.
Yeah,
but
because someone who's robbed or someone who's taken away or stolen a car, they could be armed, they could be dangerous, so police cannot put you in harm's way. So that's why
at least if
and if I just want to bring in Gagan for a minute, and we got to
move
to the next topic.
I'd love to just close off this discussion by saying again, I've yet to hear a plan from my respected opponents, and on top of that,
I think we have spoken about
if I could finish, I'd like to say,
I think you're talking about this full plan, but we have the plan.
If I may, moderator, respectfully just finish my sentence.
Yes,
thank you,
Azad. But you can't make a wrong statement and claim to all our fellow
what I'm trying to say is we do have the resources, and again, it's through poor leadership from my elected officials. And the current incumbent that we did not use those resources. The budget is there. Please, I recommend you all just read the Peel budget, the Peel Police budget. The reasons are there to bring in the police officers. The reasons are there to train them. And they are doing a great job.
The chief is watching this
debate.
Sir, do you know?
If I may
I think that the heatedness of this debate illustrates, we're representative of the community. So if we feel this way, imagine how the community is feeling.
Just a closing remark.
Police need more resources, definitely, because we need more resources for the policing. Because we need more police officers. How the police officer will come if there is not more resources? So we need the funding for that one. Police has an acute shortage of funding. So we will make sure, work with the provincial and federal government, we will bring more funding.
Thank you.
By working
I wish
together.
we had more time. Those are very interesting points that all of you brought up. Thank you so much. And I think we quickly move on to our next topic regarding hospital in Brampton. I know as far as the federal government is concerned, the number one item on their budget is healthcare. Provincial level, they spend a lot of money on healthcare. It's the number one item on their agenda as well. But Brampton has just one hospital which serves 24/7 emergency department. But do we need another full-fledged hospital? Do we need 3? I'll let you guys respond. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, for the hospital, that's because we have only one hospital. Back in 2019, I had a hunger strike at Queen Park for 48 hours. That Brampton needs second hospital. So since that, I'm working on the healthcare issues. We need our fair share in healthcare funding. We are a million population unofficially, and officially we have 700,000 plus. So we are the equal taxpayer. So why we are not getting the funding? Why our representative should work for the betterment of Brampton and more funding for the second hospital? The second hospital is being built in 2025. That's not enough. It can be completed early. Let me tell you a story. A pregnant woman.
I'll come back to you. Yeah, good, Pratap. Yeah.
So I think we need aggressive advocacy for a second hospital and a third hospital. I don't think going on hunger strikes is a solution. As a representative, I wouldn't recommend doing that. However, we need to make sure that we cannot go home and sleep at night peacefully knowing that our city only has one functioning hospital, which is barely functioning. Stretched to its limit, not just today, for the last 10 to 15 years. We've been advocating for a full second hospital, and I commit as a regional councillor that we will not rest, that we will not be taking the nice fancy photo ops with the provincial representatives without their commitment that they're going to complete a second hospital and get working on the third one. That's
Susan,
what we need to do.
Susan.
So we do have one hospital, which we all know what it is. We also have a second hospital, which has an urgent care. So I will let you all know that it was just announced that the urgent care is going to be opening 24/7 in late fall. So I will definitely advocate for the additional funding. So the funding has been allocated, but what's happening is we are a growing city, so we need a third hospital. The second hospital has already been funded, but I think most people don't realize that funding in the hospital is not just the infrastructure. All of the equipment that's in the hospital is funded by the community, and that's the reason why we didn't need those big investors. We need those big companies coming in to invest into Brampton, because the equipment, all the beds, all of the equipment that you see in BCH is not funded by provincial government. It's not funded by Oslo.
I'll just respectfully disagree. If I could just respectfully disagree with just one small point.
No, actually,
hospital funding, we cannot always rely on private sponsorships. It is a good way to raise money and to make sure that we are fully equipped. But at the end of the day, it is still, our government cannot just give up and leave it on to the residents to
Moderator.
I'd like to jump in as well after.
So I want to mention this. 680 beds we currently have. With the extension of the hospital in Pure Memorial, we'll have 1,000 beds to serve roughly 650,000 residents. Look at what's going on. Our hospital system is not working. On top of that, our current incumbents did not know that we had a local charge that we had to pay for the hospital. Did no one budget for this? If I may finish, I just want to say that I have a plan. And I hear again, advocacy, fighting. I still have yet to hear a plan from my opponents. And what my plan is this. As your future regional councillor, I'm going to establish a dedicated fund that raises ring-fenced money. So when it is time to address our concerns for another hospital, we will be able to. Vaughn thought about this 18 years ago. Why is it that our community and our government has failed to do so? That is my plan, and I hope that our opponents release a plan without saying we're going to fight for, we're going to advocate for. It's time to do the work.
Respectfully to our fellow panelists, I think that a lot of the ideas that we're hearing today are great, but I think that any plan has to go through the appropriate levers in the policy-making process, and part of that is advocacy, part of that is fighting, because the stronger your voice is, the better that you're working with other levels of government, the more likely it is that you're going to see those commensurate changes in your local health infrastructure. And I do agree that we have to look at the way budgets are allocated in terms of how much health funding are we actually able to retain control over at this level of government, but also how is it being proportionately dispersed, right? I think that the issue of Brampton not having enough health care and the actual state of the hospital is representative of the bigger issue of how, when the entire healthcare system itself is not working, it funnels down and it actually affects the delivery of it at the front
I wish we had more time. Go ahead. 10 seconds for each one.
No doubt we had a second hospital and third hospital, but the existing hospital, the emergency was closed. We have an acute shortage of staff. The provincial government should do something so that the employees can be retained, because nurses are doing double duties. How they go on the road and they don't feel safe after doing the 24 hours.
Thank you. 10 seconds. Yeah, go ahead.
Don't want to add anything more other than the fact what Aneep also just said. Advocacy is super important. We need to have the right policies in place. Dollars just don't fall from the sky. We can't just write a blank check. There's ways to do it. There's ways to advocate. There's ways to fight for it and get the money that we need to make this happen.
I just want to just mention that, where is the funding going to come from? I've yet to hear, and we talk about bringing a hospital.
We've talked about the provincial government.
I may finish, respectful moderator.
Yes, please.
And we just heard a word jumped up, provincial government, and once ever heard in these answers, provincial government, and now it's been a key buzzword.
I actually did mention it.
We are not the second-class citizen of Brampton.
I never said that.
We are the equal taxpayer. So it's a provincial and federal. I will work with that.
If I may have my last 10 seconds, please. I think what's key to get any funding from anywhere is collaboration. and communication, and it is different levels of government. So advocacy is key, but if we as councillors, future councillors, one of us is going to be a future councillor, cannot work with all the levels of government, I'm sorry, we're not going to get anything. And that's the problem.
Aneep, 10 seconds.
Well, I mean, I would just add that you know, we have to empower our citizens to know and understand what's happening. The political decisions that you're making or not making, voting or not voting, is directly related to the services that you're getting. I think that all of our panelists, you know, these lovely colleagues here have amazing ideas, but I think that, you know, a balanced approach to everything that we're doing is necessary, particularly when it comes to the hospital and healthcare in the city.
All right, we got to quickly move on to our next topic, that is university. We can all debate we need 1, 2, 3 or 4 hospitals in Brampton, but university, we do not have any university as far as Brampton is concerned. So I'll like to hear what are your views. Yeah, go ahead.
I'd like to start, if I may, just on this
Sure.
topic. I think that this is extremely important, and it does touch on a few things that we talked about before, which is just understood that you have to work with the different levels of government in order to get your fair share in a municipality, in a region. But I would say also that so many Brampton students are commuting elsewhere to go to school. So if there's a solution that could involve even using existing infrastructure to increase the availability of, say, satellite campuses or anything like that, I think that's something that should definitely be explored. But the fact that so many people in the city, you know, in the wards are going elsewhere to be educated and come back is directly affecting the environment, the sustainability issue here in the area, and to some degree it's environmental racism at work as well. And I think that, you know, Brampton should have you know, a way that people who are studying here can have access to the services with respect to education that they need.
So
all right, Azad.
Back in 2020, I organized a big town hall with the federal, provincial and municipal level of government for a full-fledged university in Brampton. I'm the only resident, the first one, who raised this issue that Brampton need a full-fledged university with medical school. So we have a huge population. We are the youngest city in Brampton. We have a 1 million population. The town with 50,000 population has a university. Why we don't have? Our kids deserve the post-secondary education, university education at our doorstep. So I will fight, I will work, and I will work all the level of government to bring a full-fledged university in Brampton. So many students are forced to commit outside Brampton. Why? Why they are forced to go study outside Brampton when we can have a post-secondary, fully-fledged university in Brampton? So I'll make sure the university will work in Brampton. It should be a reality in Brampton, not in next 10 years. We don't need a satellite campus. We need a full-fledged university with the world-renowned courses, so that our kids feel proud that they live in Brampton,
Susan.
they study in Brampton, and they will work in Brampton.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you, sir. So I definitely support a university in our city as well. So higher education is where you're going to retain and you're going to keep our youth right here in our city, and that's what we want. But for a university comes all the infrastructure, the transit system. All of our youth are moving out and going to different universities for professional degrees, and that is just wrong. We need to have a satellite or something that's more than just a medical college. I'm glad we're having the medical, we're having TAMU come in, but we have colleges, but we need a university, and I totally support that.
Gagan.
Yeah, I agree with my colleagues here that a university is absolutely crucial here. You have University of Toronto, you have University of Toronto, Mississauga, that lies in Mississauga. I'm a professor at Seneca York University. For my own profession, I have to drive, commute an hour and a half just to teach. I wish there was a university in Brampton. I wish I can work in my own city. So as a professor who mentors and teaches students, I'm a prime advocate, and I wish that Brampton has a university. And the first step is we do have a great innovation district that tries to bring in collaborations with Ryerson University or Algoma University, and I think it's important that if we don't have the space, we find ways to collaborate.
Yeah,
collaborate with these institutions and have these incubators.
Yeah,
I'll just very quickly add that any educational institution that we add to the city should have training towards the new green economy and skilled trades and jobs in that regard as well.
Okay, good.
And I'm glad to see that all the candidates, and I do believe all the residents agree that we need a post-secondary institution. Why the residents should vote for me in this instance, I think I'm the only candidate here that's actually been part of a team that was able to bring a university to the table when Ryerson University was announced in 2018 before the Ford government canceled it. It was my office that got this done, that brought it to the table. The innovation district we talk about, the satellite campuses that we talk about, the cybersecurity center that we talk about, That's all the work that I was able to do while I was in the mayor's office in the city of Brampton. I know how we can get it done. I know the people that we can talk to. I know how we can expand on this issue. And that's why I do believe I would be the best candidate to advocate for this at the table.
10 seconds.
Yeah, let me say
10 seconds for each one of you.
Yeah, I'm the best candidate. I did my PhD. I know the importance of education at our doorstep. Our kids need the education at our doorstep. Being your next regional councillor, I will make sure the university will happen. I will advocate and I'll work with the provincial government to make it happen. We don't need the promises. I will work with our representative because our taxpayer are paying the salary of the MPPs. So they should work for Brampton interest. I'll make sure that all work together and bring a that's their responsibility, and we will work for that.
Thank you, moderator. I just want to speak to Gurpratap. I noticed that he worked for the ex-mayor's office. It was in Jeffrey's administration that we failed to bring in the LRT. There was gridlock in our community under her leadership, and if he says that he worked closely on that team where the problems arose, I think that how are we going to bring someone in who's trying to solve the problems that his team has created? I think what we need is a wider world view, someone who has the leadership experience, the education, and the background. I am a professor, so of course I know what to do to get the university here. I have built those connections. I work as a professor. So we need someone with a wider worldview, someone who's not worked in the city council.
Let me say, one
second, sir. So 1 second. I'll let Guru Pratap respond.
I'm just going to respond because it was a direct shot over here. So I will say this. I'm proud to work part of the team that was successfully able to bring the university to the table. That was successfully able to get a funding announcement from the provincial government at the time to establish a university campus. When we're talking about the LRT, we were the strongest advocates for the LRT. The motion failed once again, because councillors that failed to get along. And that is the same problem that's been plaguing our city for the last 4 years. And that is why all of us made the decision that we're actually going to run and be on this council that could work together, that can achieve these things and get this done. So I don't appreciate the personal jab here, but I would just like to say that, you know, when you're talking about a worldview, I was born and raised in Abu Dhabi, and one of the fastest growing cities in the world, a world-class city. When we look at what's possible globally, I do think I have that knowledge as well. We're all educated people here, so I do think all of us are capable to advocate for it. But I'm just talking about
that from Mr. Gurpratap word, that didn't deliver the problem. Working in the office means you are get paid. It's not like that you work for the community. But think that was a failed council. We didn't have the, that was the announcement just before election. Just having an announcement just before election, do you think we brought the university on the table? No. There is nothing happened in that term. LRT money was returned, not used that term. So do you think that you are successful? No. Because in your tenure, everything happens the wrong. The province.
I was just going to very quickly say that, you know, I think that all of us are sitting here because from whatever backgrounds we've come from, we've brought to the table a culmination of our experiences. And I think that what Brampton actually needs is a refresh on how politics is delivered, but we have to make sure that our institutions, you know, like council or how decisions are being made is actually being nurtured so that going forward, we have the mechanisms in place so that, you know, democracy is actually working so that we can make these decisions, right? You know, I would say that it's great to be able to tell our taxpayers that, you know, in X number of years, you're going to have a standing new campus or university. But I think also what might matter more is showing that, you know, there's incremental steps towards that are being achieved as goals, you know, leading towards that, right? And so that, you know, if the issue is access to education, quality education in the area, there's ways to achieve that, and then maybe put pressure, you know, through all the proper democratic channels to get towards something bigger and better, which could ultimately be another institution.
Thank you, Susan.
So, obviously, all of us sitting here are highly educated, and we've all gone to universities which are top-notch universities. So why can't our kids do the same? And I respectfully will agree with all of us. The one good thing is that we all agree that we need a university in Brampton. I am an adjunct lecturer at UTM, and I wasn't educated here at all, which means that there is so much talent right here at home. Let's keep our kids close to home so that we keep our kids safe and close to us and build those family ties, and at the end of it all, whoever gets elected, please just have a university.
Gagan, 10 seconds, only 10 seconds, please.
No, I just want to say respectfully to my opponent Gurpratap was not taking a jab, and to Azad, what he said about the LRT system, yes, it was a deadlock council from 2014 to 2018 under the Jeffrey administration, and facts are the facts, but
we'll quickly,
we all rely on the university.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we got to move. Yeah, okay, 5 seconds.
We have the 5 MPPs. I will make sure they work for the Brampton interest. Let's not to work for their party interest. So I will make sure that all 5 MPPs will work for the Bramptonian. I'll make sure that when during my as a regional councillor, I will force them to work for Bramptonian, not their personal interest. Why they are not talking about the university? It's more than 100 days has gone. So I'll make sure that day I get elected, I'll bring them on the table and make sure they will advocate and bring this successful proposal from the province for a fully fledged university.
Thank you so much. Yeah, very good points made by all of you. Thank you so much. We quickly have to move on to our next topic, which is integration. The reason for bringing this topic, integration, being in media, we hear a lot of populist statements being made across the globe. We do not want politicians making divisive statements here, playing identity politics here. We have people from all different backgrounds, different ethnicities, different countries of origin, they speak different languages. So we want our elected representatives to bring people together rather than playing divisive politics. So integration, I thought, yeah, go ahead.
I wanted to start only because I feel very passionate about this and very strongly about it. I think that the example that we have here in terms of Canada being able to continue to be an example and, you know, the place of opportunity and, you know, the positive framework that, you know, I grew up with in terms of integration. I think that there is a lot of opportunity still, and I think that Brampton could be a place where we can take the diversity that we have, we can take a lot of, you know, the negativity that has been sort of put into, you know, the system, into the media, and maybe turn it back out in a way where if we are demonstrating that we're cohesive in terms of how we, you know, are exercising our power, that can trickle down into society, empower our citizens to feel like they're part of the community, to feel like their voices matter. I think that over time we can actually establish an identity under that Canadian lens, under that Brampton lens, which is really the Canada that, you know, I knew and grew up with, and it can be a positive, powerful thing. This is a unique area, this is a unique place, and I think this should be a strength, not a negative.
Yeah, Gagan.
Sure. So I want to mention that we are truly mosaic as a community. You couple that with a close proximity to the Pearson International Airport, and we are set up to champion businesses, and we are set up to champion integration and international trade. However, in the last 4 years, the incumbent, he promised us he's going to champion Brampton to the world. However, we had a failed business attempt in Turkey, and we had now where we see a plan on his flyer to increase economic ties with Punjab. And as you mentioned, moderator, that this is a beautifully diverse community. Why just Punjab? The last time I checked, there are over 250 countries in the world, and there are over 24 languages spoken in Brampton. What I will do as your regional councillor is I'm going to make our economic development unit work with the EDC to foster economic trade and leverage the beautiful diversity we have. If I may finish, Brampton is beautiful. The world lives in Brampton. However, our failed leadership has ensured that Brampton does not live in the world.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gurpratap.
You know, like my fellow colleagues here have spoken about it, Brampton is a melting pot. We all know about it. We all see it in the news. But sadly, the stigma around Brampton, I don't think the media helps with that at all. Whenever we see a negative news headline, it's always about Brampton. But when we see a positive news headline, it is a city northwest of Toronto. I think that is very unfair. Brampton has the best and brightest minds that come from all over the world, that come here, raise a family, raise educated kids, talented, full of skills, and I think it is up to us to make sure that we can make the best out of the opportunity that lies in front of us with the diverse backgrounds, with the diverse experiences, life experiences that we have, that I know we can do a lot more, but that takes by setting example at a leadership level at City Hall.
Thank you. Azad.
Yeah. No doubt Brampton is a cultural mosaic. Brampton is the land of immigrants. Every corner, from wards, every corner the immigrants come here. But sadly, from the last 4 years, the division has come so aggressively that hearts has been broken, heart has been made apart. So being a regional councillor, I'll make sure that our roads and our public properties are not used for the division. I will make sure that our elected representatives should never talk about the division. I'll make sure they will work for bringing the heart together, not apart. So I will say, it is so sad, and our Bramptonians are moving from Brampton. They say, which Brampton? We have dreamed the years before. We made a beautiful Brampton, and see the Brampton now. People are thinking to move out from Brampton. It's too much politics on them. I'll make sure when we get elected that I will make sure that Brampton get the glory back.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you. I'm going to borrow the term that Mr. Lal used, which is a mosaic. So, and I do agree that Brampton is very, very diverse. We have people from obviously all cultures and languages. That being said, Brampton also has the highest talent in the world, not just in highly skilled trades and healthcare and infrastructure business, but look at sports. Half of the players on the FIFA team is from Brampton. Elisa Cara is from Brampton. Russell Peters is from Brampton. Why are we always known to be the Brampton that is in the negative limelight? So our diversity has to be amplified, and that's what I would do as regional councillor, is work with you and make sure that your voice is heard.
And could I just quickly add that I think that, community programs and services that encourage people to work together, to, get out into the community, to meet different types of people are so important, right? And I think part of this does go back to how communities are planned, right? If you have 15-minute walkable communities, you have places people can cycle, maybe even join cycle groups or, walking groups, mix up in the community. That also facilitates integration as well. And I think that, there's a direct correlation between the quality of life that we have in Brampton and the impact on perhaps the better possibilities for someone feeling like they can integrate. I actually remember having a conversation with someone who's new to the country, and they were saying how they find it difficult to sort of get out of the circles that they're just find themselves in, and they want those new experiences, but they're so busy in their day-to-day they don't know how to get access to sort of different types of people and experiences.
That's
and I
precisely
think that's
the job of thank you for making that good point, but that's precisely the job of our elected representatives, and that is something that I see missing. Rather than just throwing dollars on different organizations for a simple photo op, that's what we see is happening. We don't even hold them accountable what these organizations are doing. Susan.
So we used to have something called Celebration Brampton, years ago, I don't know, almost years ago. It wasn't about different cultures. It wasn't about, obviously all the cultures were recognized, but it wasn't a South Asian festival. It wasn't a Portuguese festival. So I almost feel like we need to go back to our roots, which are we're all Bramptonians, we're all Canadians to begin with. And I think if we develop that spirit or rekindle that spirit, you're going to see a better Brampton.
Yeah, Canada Day is one perfect example where we could bring the communities together. Yeah, you want
to we are proud Canadian and we are proud Bramptonian. So I will make sure that all community, all culture, all faiths come together and celebrate the events together. We have seen in the past that one particular segment is organized their festival. Hardly people come there, or they just come for the photos. I'm a leader. I'm not a politician. I want to be a politician to lead. I don't want to be a politician. I want to be a leader, so that I will bring everyone together and make the better Brampton, and I will make sure that our Brampton glory is back and division politics is back.
To build on what Susan was saying, I do think we can all agree on this. Living in the city, we do lack this civic, sense of civic pride. And we need to do a lot of work to make sure that we can foster this civic pride in our residents so that we take pride in Brampton. And for that, we need to, again, go back to leadership and set the example on what it means to be a Bramptonian.
All right, we quickly have to move to our next topic, and that is accountability and transparency. We've seen headlines recently that, yes, the council could not work together, but can the residents really make them accountable? And there are many decisions that are being made by our council. Can we make them accountable? There have been allegations of corruption. Was it true or not? None of these allegations have been proven in the court of law. But let's hear it out. Moving further, can we have an accountable and a transparent council? Go ahead.
Looking at City Hall for the last 4 years, the amount of scandals it's been part of, the amount of court cases it's been, the amount of lawsuits it has to face, to a point where councillors had to sue the other side of councillors for them to get to work. I think we're in a very sad state as a city, and the first thing that we would need to do as a new council at the table would be to make sure that we can have an audit, an external party that comes and conducts an audit of the city's affairs, of the city's finances, and find out, what actually is the truth behind our funds, our resources, our taxpayer dollars. Present that, in a transparent manner to our residents, and at the same time strengthen our code of conduct to ensure that we can deter behavior like this from councillors, because this is unprecedented behavior. We've never seen this coming. Would have never thought I would see a term of council that would be suing each other at the same time. So we need to strengthen our code of conduct and make sure that we can hold ourselves accountable to our residents.
Azad.
Yeah, I don't understand. We are electing the representative to work for the Brampton issue. Why, after getting elected, they fight each other? We are electing them to work. Brampton City Hall become a school of politics. We don't need a school of politics. We need the people who work for Brampton, who need for Brampton issue. Transparency, accountability, the key thing. In the past, so many lawsuits has happened against the city. Why? Because their personal interests were there. Many times I delegated at City Hall against those issues. Why the taxpayer money is being used for the sexual misconduct? Why the taxpayer money is used to buy the barn from Caledon? Why the taxpayer money is used in a very inappropriate way just to have their political interest catered? No, it is not acceptable. We are the taxpayer. Every single dollar of the taxpayer must be respected. Taxpayers are working hard, working very hard. We need their every single dollar to be respected. Why there is a lawsuit in the City Hall? Why? Tell me why. Because they are not working for us for their personal interests. They are working and misusing our tax money. I'll stop this practice, and I'll feel proud that in my tenure there will be no lawsuit against any councillor.
Go ahead.
Thank you, moderator. So I want to say that it's time that Brampton gets its fair share. There's a major disconnect between the services that we need, the services that we deserve, and what we're actually getting. And as your future regional councillor, I'm going to ensure that I host and hold very common occurring town hall meetings within our neighborhood and our communities, so that the citizens and our residents can they can voice their concerns and they can get the best from City Hall in order to make their neighborhood and communities thrive. Enough with the backroom politics, enough with the backroom deals. It's time for open, transparent, and leadership with integrity. And that is what I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you courage, and I'm going to give you hope, and I'm going to give you your voice back. It's time that our residents have someone who will fight for them. We have to, as representatives for our people, we have to be held accountable. And we have to be able to address our concerns, and that the residents have to be able to speak to us.
Quickly move. Pani, please go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you. I just, echo what we're hearing is that, we need an independent review of what's been going on, and also make sure that we establish a way to have the proper levers in place that going forward, things like this can't continue to happen. There's accountability, but there should be consequences that, are indoctrinated into the system so that, people in power are not able to kind of conduct the corruption that we're hearing about. But also, I think that something that we've all touched on is the apathy in terms of the voter consensus in Brampton, people not feeling engaged, not knowing what's going on. So publishing things that help people understand transparently what's going on is one facet, but making sure that people understand what are the implications of this, right? Like if you have backroom politics and deals that are going on, what does that mean for you as the taxpayer? Like there's a direct correlation between what is happening and the services that you're not getting, or the things that are happening in the community that will continue to get worse. So just sort of having that open sort of forum, dialogue, engagement, and making sure that people want to understand or engage in what's going on, at City Hall.
Susan.
Thank you. Accountability and transparency. These are words that have been used. We've all heard it. What does it mean to a common man? Honestly, what it means is that they have to know what's happening in City Hall. So my plan is to perhaps propose, obviously it's not a one-person decision, propose a subcommittee where you have an independent audit happening, as well as you have members of the public who are on that committee, and you have so many retired seniors. I've spoken to my seniors in my community who are retired government officials who have the business background, who would be able to actually have that independent view. That's what transparency is.
But the question, this begs a question, you know, the audits were being conducted, but what would you do to ensure that audits are conducted, they're completed, they're not stalled, they're not blocked, they're not voted down? And I think Bramptonians, they deserve an answer, because any audit, whatever it names, whatever results are, they should be published, they should come out in open in the public. Yeah, go ahead, Susan.
So I mean, I'm just going to answer your question. So
Sure.
definitely, you know, we all have to be held accountable. We're all professionals here. We go to work and we get paid for that job. If you don't show up, you don't get paid. At the same time, every councillor should have, if you don't do your job, there has to be consequences. You can't just not show up to work. You have to work collaboratively, because it's not your money, it is the city's money.
City's money. Guru Pratap.
You know, like Aneep said, accountability also means consequences. You know, the incumbent sadly hasn't showed up, and this is possibly the last debate we're going to have before we head off to the elections. And the incumbent was found guilty of sexual misconduct on a foreign trip. We've mentioned that before. You know,
I just
found
have
guilty about it by the integrity
No.
commissioner, but what are the actions we're going to take after that? How do we hold someone accountable? How does someone like that still continue to hold office? That is a question. Sadly, because of that, Brampton's been made an example at the province of Ontario, where they're introducing a bill to make sure there's consequences to actions like these. So we need to make sure we have a tighter code of conduct, that our integrity commissioner could have more powers to investigate and to come up with decisions and consequences that mean something to residents, that protect our residents for people like that running for office.
So yeah, as you just mentioned, yes, that was with the integrity commissioner, but I must say that the sexual misconduct allegations were not proven in the
No, it
court
was
of-
not
court of-
proven, but it was settled. Settled means if you are settling out of the court, mean the person is guilty, accepting
doesn't
the person
mean
is
that.
guilty.
But
That
sir,
doesn't
there
mean-
was
No, settlement is
No, you
different
can-
thing.
yeah.
And second thing,
Let me
I believe in no work, no pay. The council is not having any single meeting since September. There were 2 meetings cancelled in September. I was on a delegation list. So the council meetings has been suspended until November 2nd. Why? They are get paid. So why they are not conducting the meeting? They are busy in election. So we taxpayers are paying the money. So no work, no pay. They should return all the salary they are getting from the taxpayer money. So no work, no pay. You are being elected to represent the community, to represent the Bramptonian. So I will make sure I will work, and my presence will be 100% during the council meeting. I will make sure I don't deserve any single cent if I'm not working for the residents.
Okay, and I'll just, I'll come back to both of you. I know you wanted to add, but I'll quickly put this on record. We did invite the incumbent, but he didn't show up. So we send invites to everyone. So we want to give equal opportunity.
Was,
Yeah,
there,
Susan
was there
and-
a reason provided why the incumbent wasn't able to come? Because this is the 3rd debate we're having without the incumbent.
And one thing, we heard that the incumbent has a COVID positive, but he showed in the so many meetings in the Sunday too. He came on the stage. So person is diagnosed with COVID-19. Why the person is showing in the public? Why the person is going to the meetings? Why the person is doing the doorknob? So incumbent has no right to no right.
This is about
to show in the public.
I'd like to add something,
Sure, right
if
in
I
the
may.
public.
I think that,
Susan,
I think
Aneep,
there's
go ahead,
an
please.
opportunity here to maybe visit things like democratic reform and actually looking at mechanisms that exist, where we could reform things that would help in how we conduct ourselves and how council conducts itself, how municipal politics is delivered. I know at other levels of government that is something that is possible. So you can legislate or implement ways and policies so that there's fail-safe mechanisms that could allow perhaps public engagement or further investigation, criminal, whatever the case might be, so that people in power are accountable to something that is outside of the realm of politics itself.
Yeah, and I'll come back to you, Gagan and Susan as well. The reply that we got from the incumbent candidate was that because of scheduling conflicts, so he could not encounter. So it was not COVID, so I'm not sure. So I want to get into.
No, that was in the past. So many days it happened that showed that he's not coming because of COVID positive. But I was surprised that he showed up in a 20,000 gathering at Hindu Sabha temple that day. So public is at risk. We don't need an incumbent regional councillor like that who doesn't care about the safety of the people of Brampton.
No, but that was not given. That was not the reason provided to us. So I'm just saying this, that the reason provided to us was scheduling conflict. So I'm just putting it on record. So tomorrow it doesn't go. Yeah, but I think Susan, you wanted to add, and then Gagan, I'll come to you as well.
So definitely I would say that even though it wasn't proven, I think the decision of the integrity officer does matter. She was fired. So let's go. I mean, I was not on that table, so I would not. This is what I'm reading in the media. Another fact that I would want to bring up is women representation. So if you had a woman at council, and we only have one right in the current council because the other person has moved to higher positions.
Provincial level. Yes.
Provincial elections, exactly, level. But if you had women representation, I think that's again another key factor. We're talking about diversity, we're talking about that. What about the women? It was women's safety that was at risk here. Thank you.
Yeah, Aneep, you wanted to say something?
Oh, I just wanted to add that I think that ensuring we've got the proper representation on council, and we've heard this from everyone, gender, race, and also public engagement is important.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Gagan.
And if I may chime in, I think what it just comes down to is accountability and transparency, and it's time we give the voice back to the people. We are currently in a government where it's difficult to get a hold of your elected officials or the incumbent because maybe they're too busy at a banquet hall party taking photos. The problem is this position of the regional councillor is about serving. We are public servants. So that is why I intend to hold these town hall meetings so you can keep us accountable. You will keep me accountable when I'm your regional councillor, when you ask your questions and challenge me, and then I can fight for you in City Hall to make sure your community thrives.
Yeah, and at this point we'll have to go to our next topic. 5 seconds, quickly,
Okay.
sir, please.
Being a resident of Ward 9 and 10, we feel shamed and insulted that we are being represented by such a fellow regional councillor that he had no respect for the women. The woman said in 3 minutes audio, 74 times said no, no, no.
Let's not make any, because this was challenged in court, so anything which is in court, unless we have...
No, that was the audio transcript.
So I must say this.
That was released by the Integrity Commissioner. It's not like no, it was released by the Integrity Commissioner. We have the transcript. If you go on internet, you can search the transcript, you will get it 74 times. Do you have the respect for the woman? No, we don't need a fellow who has no respect for the woman. I'm a family value ethics, and always make sure this will not happen in my tenure. And even the council from 10-0 said that council that regional council must resign. They said in one voice, he doesn't deserve to represent us. Even the women, there were 2 women that time, all said,
Can I just jump in? I think what we need to do is we need to stop giving predators notoriety by amplifying the actions that they've taken. The criminal system needs to, work to bring someone who's done harm to justice. And, in my personal opinion, if someone has done something that shows a lack of integrity or, harm to whether it's women, anybody in the community that you're supposed to represent, then I'm not speaking directly to anyone, but the general consensus of a respectable politician is you resign, or you handle whatever it is you need to do to make the goal is to ensure that you're not affecting the political democratic process. And I think that that's what we need to focus on. I think that anyone who's conducted themselves this way and anyone who's done that should be held accountable, should maybe do what they need to do the right thing. But I think that what we need to focus on is ensuring that this doesn't happen, and that why are people electing someone who is doing that is also a bigger question, right? So we need to move forward, and we need to start putting the right things in place. So you're getting people in power that have integrity and have the principles that you want. And so you're not going to be reading about this in the paper. You're going to be reading about things that matter, which we're all here to discuss today.
Yeah, from media's perspective, we cannot blur the lines, but we were waiting because when the lawsuit was filed, so I was waiting for the results to come out because I clearly wanted to know what happened there. I did interview both, the alleged victims' counsel as well, and I also interviewed the alleged accusers counsel as well, but I was waiting. But anyways, that didn't go to the court, so I wish I had the court judgment here, and I would have showed to you that
I think we all wish that. So
we all wish that. Yeah, so I wish I had the court judgment, and I would have shown that. Yeah,
that was a settled minute. So taxpayer money was 61,000. Taxpayer money was in that settlement. So it means the person is settling with someone, the person is involved. Why I will settle with someone when I'm not guilty?
I think the punchline here is that it was much better candidates here to select from. So why don't we focus on that and the issues, and let's not keep electing people into power who are predators and sending a message to young women that that's okay.
Exactly. I second that third that, whatever. So what Adeep said, exactly.
Okay, we quickly move on. We quickly have to move on to our last topic for the discussion, which is youth and seniors. So I'd like to listen all the ideas that you would want to share from youth and seniors. Yeah, Susan, I think you want to go.
So that's my passion. So I've worked with youth and seniors all of my life. I've been knocking on the doors of all of my seniors. And the one thing I will tell you what seniors are talking about is the quality of life. They have obviously worked all of their lives, and now it's their time to relax and age well at home. So one of the main concerns they have is safety, and then the property taxes, because they are on fixed income. So as much as it is not sustainable to always freeze the property taxes, we have to consider our seniors, because they've contributed all of their lives. With regards to the youth, mental health, just our resources, competitive sports, investing in arts and culture, in bringing out skilled workers, developing youth hubs so that you develop leadership in our youth. Our youth today have no leadership skills because that's not being taught. They don't have a way to go and develop those skills, and it doesn't have to be professional skills at all. It has to do arts and culture and every other scope that's needed. Yeah.
I'll just add, if I may. I mean, I think a lot of us here, we come from cultures where you're taught, respect for elders, and and seeing them age with dignity and grace is important. And I think that these are things that can be shown in everyday community services, as well as how services in terms of municipal services for health integrate with larger things like hospitals, things like that. Things that seniors are going to need. The senior population is becoming one of the bigger parts of the population, right? And I think that there's a strain that's being placed on the system because the needs of that part of the community are so diverse that there's certain things that are going to impact their quality of life, whether it's health, whether it's access to services, or just being able to have care in place at home, be around loved ones, and helping seniors take stress off other parts of the system.
Gagan.
If I may say, as we mentioned, in Brampton, we're the youngest city in average age all of Canada, just 36 years old. But as much as we are young, we also have an aging population. A population that we are failing to take care of. As your regional councillor, what I'm going to do is I'm going to invite innovative senior housing solutions that implement long-term and intermediate care. We have a very paralleled system with places in areas such as Europe that are doing them wonders, and I hope to bring that over here. Our seniors have built our city from the ground up. They are our backbone. And it's time that we do our share and we take care of them and we fight for them. And that is what I want to mention as a future regional councillor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Being our citizen, we are sitting here. So at my door knock, I was surprised and very sad to know that our senior, they don't have the affordability. They have little income, but expenses has gone so high. So they deserve the quality life. They work whole life to grow this country. So they have contributed a lot. So they deserve a very, very good life. So I will work for them. I'll invite them what their problem are, and I will bring all level of governments to come together. Listen to them. See the inflation. I will make sure they get some tax credit for property tax credits being a senior, because they are not contributing in the schooling and all that. They said why we are putting our share in the public school system or that one. So I will make sure our seniors are being heard. They deserve a quality life, and because they have built this country. And for the younger generation, I will ask them, please participate, being a part of the election, being a part of the meetings. So many young generation I've seen, no, we don't care. No, do care.
Thank you so much. Good, Pratap.
So I do believe that the primary responsibility of your municipal government is to ensure that they can make a city for you that is happier, healthier, and safer for all its residents. And I refer back to Gil Penalosa when he talks about his land use planning in our city, or any city around the world, in fact. He goes by a principle called 8 and 80, where a city that is livable and sustainable for someone who's 8 years old and someone who's 80 years old. There's tons of examples we can see around the world in world-class cities on how they've developed an infrastructure, a city with services, with its parks, with its recreation facilities, a city that is friendly towards its youth, allows them the space and the time time to grow and develop into adults that will contribute to the society, and a place that can, safe keep its seniors, take care of them, and make sure that they can have, a better retirement. They can ensure, they can enjoy their city facilities and do that to the fullest extent.
Thank you so much. At this point, I'll thank all of you for joining us this debate on behalf of Y Media. It was a pleasure listening to all those fresh ideas, and certainly it takes a lot of courage, to put your name out there. And 1 minute for each one of you for your closing remarks. Susan, why don't we start with you?
Thank you so much, sir. So, at the end of the day, I believe Bramptonians are smart people. So which means that you will make your decision based on what you have heard, what you've seen, who you've spoken to knocking at your door. So at the end of the day, I'm positive that we will have a good outcome. And the only thing I would want to say is please come out and vote, and change is mandated. And change doesn't happen with just words. It means action, and action on my part as a regional councillor, I will bring about change, but it's also change on your part, which means you have to come out and vote, and you can know more about me if I haven't met you already. I'm at www.susanjoseph.ca. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Honey.
Hi, and thank you again for the chance to be here. I have to say it was really refreshing to have this lively, political debate. I think that, it just shows you how important it is to be engaged in what's going on in our community. So, as regional councillor, I'd very much like to see, everyone in our community becoming more aware and involved in terms of what's going on at council and with the people that you elect. I'd like to work towards democratic transparency and accountability. But I think also I will take a very robust environmental lens in terms of how we look at policy and advocate for that, because I think sustainability is extremely important. It's not something that we can ignore. Maybe turning Brampton into something that could be an example for the rest of the world, even the province, the country, in terms of innovation in that area is possible. I think there's lots of opportunities here to make this a vibrant, thriving, even more special place, and I'd like to be that representative, to be that voice, to go to council every day and just fight as best I can to make those changes. And going forward, I'd like to see more young people and women coming into power as well.
Thank you so much, Annie. Yeah, Gagan.
Thank you. So I want to say that politics should be about great debate. It should be about discussion. It should be about representation. But good politics should be about action. It is time to stop the era of great paralysis. We are destined to repeat the mistakes of the past if we don't learn from them. For too long, Brampton has not had its fair share of investments, jobs, planning, healthcare, and almost everything else. And I am here to change that. I understand large organizations. I understand working with stakeholders and attracting corporate investments. But also, I understand that you need to do the job. As your representative, I will work tirelessly to ensure that Brampton's interests are always front and center. I have the experience, I have the education, I have the world view. On October 24th, vote Gagan Lal. It is representation for us all.
Thank you. Azad.
Again, hello Bramptonian. I knocked so many doors, maybe I missed you. But let me tell you one thing. My heart beats for Brampton. My heart beats for the resident. For me, is Brampton first, resident first. Among all the candidates, I find myself the most suitable candidate to get elected because I have worked tirelessly and passionately from the many years on the community issues, and I preferred Brampton interest over my personal and professional interest. And this is my second life. I had a heart attack. I was saved. The day I was saved, I said, I decided I came empty hand, I'll go with empty hand. So since that day, my heart beats for you, and I will work only and only and only for you. Let me say you, I will be more accessible. I will be 24/7 for you. My day will start with you, and my day will start with you. I will be whole day walking on the roads to meeting you. I am not a suited, booted gentleman for a regional councillor. I'm your regional councillor who is accessible 24/7 day. On October 24, please get me elected.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
I will be the only voice deserve.
Yeah, wish we had more time. Good, Pratap.
When you wake up every single day and work hard to make a better life for your family, You deserve a regional councillor that will work equally hard for you to make a better city so that your family has the best opportunity and the best life growing up in the city. You deserve a regional councillor that will be a community champion, that will get the work done, that knows how to get the work done, work with the different levels of government, work with different people on council, and keep moving a city forward. You deserve a councillor that's accountable to you, that hears you, hears your concerns, and is always there at your doorstep whenever you want him or her to be there and to work hard for you. This is why, for the sake of transparency and accountability, I've always made sure I'm accessible to residents. On October 24th, vote for Gurpratap Singh Toor for Regional Councillor for Wards 9 and 10. And if you would like to give me a call, have a discussion, give me your ideas, feel free to give me a call at 647-460-4085. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gurpratap Toor. Thank you so much, Azad Goy Sahab. Thank you so much, Gagan Lal. Thank you so much, Haneef Tate. Thank you so much. Susan Joseph, thank you so much. It was really a pleasure listening to all of you. Some very good ideas. Thank you so much. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed today's discussion. That's all that we have for you today. Once again, these debates will be broadcasted on Channel Y, available on Rogers 857, Bell 828, Telus 2418, Ignite 707. They'll also be broadcasted on Y Plus, a 24/7 all English channel. And you can also download our mobile app, Y Media TV. Thank you so much. Stay tuned with Y Media.
Hi, this is Priyanka Chopra and you're watching Channel Y.
The biggest South Asian media group, Y Media.
Y Media Group, established in 2001, is a media company with a 360-degree approach in reaching our audience over 5 platforms: television, radio, newspaper, online news portal, and mobile app.
Y Media has newspaper, midweek, radio, South Asian Pulse.
Hi, I'm Amitabh Bachchan, and you're listening to South Asian Pulse.
Hi, this is Amir Khan, and you're listening to South Asian Pulse.
अब हर दिन सुने GTA का #1 रेडियो स्टेशन FM 91.9.
All English 24/7 television network and Y